a Wave Sports and Entertainment original. And boy, we got another one. Another great guest. I heard this word probably twice in my life. Once from my teacher, and the second time from this brother right here. Blasphemous. We got none other than Stephen A. Smith in the building today.
What up, fellas? No doubt. It's good to be here. I told y'all I will be here. Here I am.
Yeah.
Yes, here I am.
We love it. We love it. You know, we gotta jump right into it.
That's right. Let's do it.
You called out, you know, our brother here, Jackie Long.
Right.
You know, we don't want no beef here. We not a show of beef.
Right.
But what we do, we got to bridge this together.
Sure.
Just stop, Pete. Stop. Just stop.
Let's meet the starting lineup
First
for the
of all,
visiting Toronto.
how could I ever have beef with Stephen A. Smith?
It's a legend.
First of all, I know who Stephen A. Smith is, but I don't know Stephen A. Smith to have beef.
Okay.
If anything, from me, all I want to know is how
At the
can I
other
learn
guard
from Stephen A.
position,
Smith?
Dennis Schroeder.
He's one of the greatest journalists, the greatest analyst of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I sit
At
back
small forward,
and have beef with a man that I need to learn for? I'm not going to act the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Our show is a family-based home, and we don't have interviews, we have conversations.
Right.
And that's what I'm here today, to have with you, to have a conversation and learn. Oh, that's the Stephen A. Smith show, and we can talk about that and have some fun.
Right.
I can bring you a gift.
Be careful, because I might want one.
I will honestly bring you a gift for here. We like our guests to honestly feel welcome, feel comfortable, and at the end of the day, we get to honor Stephen A. Smith.
Right.
They can talk all they want to in the comments, all this. I'm the greatest at ignoring stuff.
Right.
But man, it is an honor and a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thanks so much.
I am glad that you came. Shout out to Sherry McGee. I love her to death. And man, we really is a show that likes to be nosy.
Yeah.
You know, we like to be nosy. And like you said, you have an amazing, huge resume.
Right.
And we want to just ask you questions.
Sure.
How you started that resume. And look, being an actor, I'm here to actually take notes tonight. because I know it's something that I'm going to learn.
Right.
And like I said, man,
I love it. I love it.
This is good.
This is good.
So I'm here and take this
No doubt.
Look, the NBA season is done, but that doesn't mean that.
Well, first of all, you're absolutely right. I appreciate what you said to the audience, because there was nothing to be angry about or anything like that. The only part that I addressed was when you said he shouldn't be talking about because he didn't play professional sports, he shouldn't be talking about anybody's injuries or anything like that. And I'm like, hold up.
Right.
Can't do that, because most cats in this business didn't play professional sports. And most cats that did play professional sports ain't going to be fortunate enough to be in this business. So where does that leave us? And when you think about the challenges that black folks have faced in this nation when it comes to journalism, this is one of the things, when I talk about my resume, I don't talk about it to brag. I talk about it to highlight the obstacles I had to overcome to get to where I am. Because what I'm saying, there's only a few of us who've done it. Obviously, many more deserved it, but they got squashed.
Right.
And so a lot of times when we're talking about each other, I'm sitting there saying, yo, man, disagree. Tell me what your point is. A lot of times, I remember when Charlamagne the God came at me with Donkey of the Day or Donkey of the Week, and then he came on First Take to promote his book, and he was ready. I was ready. And what he didn't realize until we came on the air was that I have no problem with you, because he never attacked me. He attacked what I said. Right. And my point is, that is fine. That's, we all got different opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you go that next step, so you said that about me, understand, Jackie, that they going to say it about you next month. Right. No matter, they're going to say about you next year. You could be here. You could ultimately have the #1 podcast. It's a damn good podcast. I'm proud of the job that y'all doing, the whole nine. And no matter what you accomplish, they're going to take your words towards me and they're going to apply it to you. Because what did you do on that level? Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I was saying to you. I said, you want to be careful about that.
Right.
Because the greatest accomplishment of my journalism career was when I got named the general sports columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer in 2003. The reason why is because this is before the advent of social media and all of that stuff. There was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, Instagram, all of this other stuff. And in 2003, when you see a guy like Mike Wilbon walking the streets, walking in the NBA arena, understand that y'all respect him. We revere him. Because he came up, him, Bill Rhoden, the late, great Ralph Wiley, God rest his soul, Sam Lacey used to write for the Chicago Tribune, so many other cats that came to the late Brian Burwell, God rest his soul, David Dupree, both of them used to work for USA Today. Kevin Blackstone, who you still see on Around the Horn from time to time, J.A. Adonde, teaching at Northwestern and stuff like that, Bill Rhoden, New York Times. They came up at a time where they earned the license to editorialize and give their opinions when black folks weren't allowed to do it. People don't realize that in 2003, when I was named General Sports Columnist of the Inquirer, I was the 21st African American in this nation's history to achieve that honor. Only 20 black people in the history of sports journalism were bestowed that honor. Rob Parker was another one. He was writing column for New York Newsday, Detroit News, stuff like that. I'm saying to y'all, as athletes, as people who vibe with athletes that know the culture and understand today everybody's giving an opinion. Everybody can give an opinion. As recently as 20 years ago, that was not allowed. You couldn't give your opinion unless you were a columnist. Before then, you were an investigative reporter. You were a beat reporter. You could write a story. You could give news, but you couldn't do anything else. So I remember a sports reporter from Sports Illustrated. I forgot his name because he's irrelevant now. But this brother, he's a white dude, but I'm calling him a brother from another mother. This brother rolls up and ESPN lays some people off. He gonna sit up there and write, why the hell ain't Stephen A. late? Well, first of all, I'm number one. Ratings, revenue, Q scores. I bring money to the company. That's why I'm not laid off.
Right. Value.
Your ass costs the money. I bring money. That's number one. Number two, you know enough about the business to know what I did when I was a beat writer covering AI and the Philadelphia 76ers and covering the NBA. Right. You know what I've done over the last quarter century covering this league. You knew that. You saw me in those press boxes. You saw me in those locker rooms. You saw all of this stuff. If I have a challenge with having a relationship with players today, it's because they got me in damn studio all the time. And they won't let me leave because you got to stay here, you got to do these shows. But anybody that knows me knows when I can get to a game, I roll up at the game. You'll see me on the court. Am I lying? You'll see me at the court near the layup line. I'll walk into a locker room, especially if somebody sit up there and got a problem with me. Where you at? I'll show up. It's not a problem. And so, to me, I've earned that. And you have contemporaries in this league, in my profession, who were white, who were trying to say, why him, why him, why him? And then I throw history at them. Because you've been trying to hold us back. But you didn't stop me. And you ain't gonna stop me helping brothers and sisters on the come up who's coming for your ass. You understand what I'm saying? Because they tried to stop it. So that was the only point that I was making with you. What I was saying to you, because it was both of y'all, I brought up. When I was saying to Paul George, first of all, understand this. I have to couch every discussion. Paul George there's a few of them. But there's a special category of just great people. This brother right here is beloved by a lot of people in the media because of the man that he is. Always decent, always respectful, always straight up, the whole nine. No problems whatsoever. Always gracious and generous with his time when he can be. We got a lot of love. All of us got a lot of love for Paul George. My sister's kind of special. Because my sister Carmen, Paul George passed gas, she'll call it perfume. She loves the ground that this brother walked on. And here's the true story. Because they played Game 7 against Miami. They lost that game 7 in the conference finals to Miami. My sister standing by the steps where the television set is in the whole 9. And she wanted an autograph from LeBron. LeBron completely ignored her. And she's looking at him. She's trying to get his attention. He completely ignored her. And she couldn't stand him ever since. That same night, Paul George, who lost, comes walking in, and Carmen's like, "Can I have a picture?" I was like, "Sure, no problem." She's never forgotten it as long as she lives. She's a chef. She's getting ready to own her own bakery. She cooks for me on my shows and stuff like that. And she'll always ask, "When am I going to see Paul George? I owe him cookies."
So
You know what I'm saying? She's gonna. And I didn't bring it today because it wouldn't be warm. But she'll be here Friday.
Okay.
She'll be here Friday.
Okay.
She loves Paul George so much. She'll fly in. If she flew in Friday from L.A. and I told her Paul George wanted her cookies, she'd come over to my crib, make the cookies, and then make me get in the car and drive her to Paul George to deliver the damn cookies.
I'm looking forward to these
She's
cookies
crazy
Friday.
with it. She's great. But and I always defend LeBron. And not only, my God, he's one of the biggest, if not the biggest in the world. He's bombarded with requests all the time. Stop dogging him and, all of that other stuff. He can't say yes to everybody, Carmen. But she loves Paul George for that.
So, Stephen A., you recently spoke about your short-lived basketball career by admitting that I believe that you averaged less than 1 point a game. But what I did not know is that you said that you actually received a basketball scholarship.
Yes, I was on a basketball scholarship at Winston-Salem State University my first year there. I cracked my kneecap in half. And I was never able to play again. I kept trying to come back and practice, but this is in the late 80s. Technology wasn't then what it is now. I was at a Division II school. They didn't have the facilities necessary for me to rehab. I actually had to leave school for a semester to go home under my mother's insurance to rehab because they wouldn't pay for the insurance in North Carolina at that particular school because my mother's insurance wouldn't cover me there and they wasn't going to cover us there. They paid for the operation, but they didn't pay for the rehabilitation. So I never completely recovered from it. So I would come back, make the team, trying to practice, and once every 36 to 48 hours, my knee would just give out. I couldn't run without the limp and all of that other stuff, and that's what happened. So what I said was, everybody teased me 1.5 points a game. I said, no, it was less. I never played because I cracked my kneecap in half with your ignorant asses. You know what I'm saying? You didn't know. Right kneecap. I still got a 6-inch screw in it to this very day. They never took it out because back in the day they would leave it out. Then technology advanced and they would take it out. But by that time, it was in the 2000s. My career was thriving, and I didn't want to take any time off to go back and take the screw out and have to rehabilitate all over again because I knew I wasn't going to play. They told me I could live with the screw on my knee. That's what I did.
I think that's impressive. I think most people, any level of college basketball, everyone wants to go D1, but getting a scholarship on any level of athletics in college, I think, is impressive. And I have seen Jackie play basketball in our church league. And now that I know that you actually had a basketball scholarship, I think it's safe to say that you probably would have beat him in 101. But before this knee injury, I want you to talk about...
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Sidebar. I know the before your knee injury, I want to know, what was your game like? And if you were going to compare your game to an NBA player today, who would you compare?
Well, first of all, I couldn't compare myself to...
Old Spice shampoo smells great and helps keep your hair thick and healthy looking.
The NBA player. And I think it's real ignorant for people to try to do that. This is the creme de la creme. These are the greatest players who've ever played this game of basketball. When I'm going off on a player, I'm measuring him against his contemporaries, his culture. You see what I'm saying? And money plays a role because it's a soft cap. It's not a hard cap like the NFL, but it's a cap. And every position that's filled deprives somebody else of a position. You see, this is the thing. When you're somebody like PG, you point to the injuries. You never look at his game and went like this. He don't deserve his money. You look at his game and go like, hey, he deserves his money, but yo, bro, you got to get it done. But you know his game deserves the money. I've been one that obviously, meet numerous players and, most recently a Kyrie or Russell Westbrook, but you ain't never heard me say they don't.
Oh, my.
That's never come out of my mouth. okay? Because, and not only that, I usually don't talk about people's money until after you sign on the dotted line, because I want all the brothers to get paid. And then after they get paid, I'll be like, all right, now, you know you lucked up, right? Because you did that, damn it, Anthony Davis, your new contract. Look, bro, I love AD. Love AD. Talked to his daddy during the playoffs. I know he was a bit sensitive to what I was saying. Love AD as a person, love him as a player. $62 million. $62 million. Let me tell you something, bro. His talent is worth it. His consistency is not. He will show up one day. He will not show up the next.
I agree.
He will drop 40 in game 1, 11 in game 2.
I agree.
Now, me, I'd much rather have you averaging 28 to 30, night in, night out, rather than each and every night it's like the damn roller coaster. I mean, you had Charles Barkley calling him street clothes. You know what I'm saying? I never called them that. I called them Six Flags. I called them Six Flags. Great Adventure. It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster ride because he's up and down, up and down, up and down. But I got mad respect for his game. I know he's one of the elite players to in this game today. Yeah. But the consistency is not there. So when people will be like, well, you know what? He's a little bit upset. I'm like, where he at? Where he at? You know, I'm not going to sit up there and argue with him in front of other people. But I would have went up to him and said, yo, bro, I said you're not consistent. I didn't say you was a scrub. I didn't say you can't play or whatever. You know good and damn well you're not consistent. Now, you can sit up there and talk all you want. I don't give a damn how great Jokic is. And he is great. Oh, my God. Don't tell me you can't go toe-to-toe with him. You AD. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you dedicate. And that's another thing we don't talk about enough. There's certain cats that want it. And there's certain cats that just want the limelight and the salary that comes with it and the lifestyle. Yep. The people that I revere are those who want it. And they want it bad.
All right. So from the Philadelphia Inquirer to ESPN, the face of ESPN, might I add.
Thank you.
You've had you pioneered an amazing career.
Right.
And for us hoopers, like we realized when we've per se started from the bottom and had our big break in basketball, we've had that welcome to the league, big league moment. From a journalist standpoint, what was that moment for you? The big league, mama, I made it, journalistic moment for you?
Well, like I said, when I became a columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer was one. ESPN, when they hired me in 2003, was a big, big deal for me because my brother had died in a car accident in 1992. And I got this in my book, Straight Shooter. I wrote about that. He died in a car accident in Texas in 1992. I had seen him in Georgetown, Maryland, about 2 months prior. He died about 3 days before my birthday. And the next 20 years, I wouldn't celebrate my birthday because that whole week, the funeral and all of that other stuff, and every time it would just hit me, and it was like, man, I just felt bad. And my brother, the very last conversation we had before he passed, 2 months later, he said to me, you're going to be a star for ESPN. You're going to be the #1 sports commentator in America. Mark it down. You're going to take this damn industry by storm. You're going to do it.
That's deep.
That's what he said. And so when he passed away, I made a promise to myself that I would never go back to see him at his gravesite until I got hired by ESPN. And it took me 11 years. But when I got hired by ESPN, I went to his gravesite. And I said, I did it. I did it. And I could hear his voice saying to me, actually, you didn't. I said you was going to be the biggest star. I didn't say you were going to arrive. You still got work to do. And so for me, that was a big, big moment. And, at that particular moment in time, humility really, really kicks in for those of us who strive to be decent. And you think about my mom, God rest her soul, and all the things that she did for me, my brother, my 4 older sisters, all of that. But I also thought about AI, Allen Iverson, because I don't believe, he refutes it, but I don't believe I would have ever gotten the notoriety for the work that I did as a journalist if it wasn't for his crazy ass self. He was a beat unto himself. You got the team that you covering, and then there's him. And all the stuff that came with him. But we fought. I remember one season we went 8 months without talking to each other because he was so pissed at me. There was another year where, when he was close to retiring, you had cats that were in Atlanta, and they were saying, I can't come down there because he and his boys are looking for me and they gonna do something. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I got some gorillas. We roll up down there. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Where he at?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is that? We met up, and it was one of the most humbling experiences I've ever had, because I had written a story about near when he had gotten traded to Denver, then went to Detroit and Memphis and all of this other stuff, came back to Philly, and somebody caught him partying when he was supposed to be somewhere else or whatever, and I had to write a story about he got to chill with the partying, and he was so angry he wouldn't talk to me, and we had gone like damn near 2 years, and finally I caught up with him when I went down to Atlanta, and he looked me in my face. We were in a hotel in Buckhead. He said, I don't give a shit about the story. Is that it was you. It was your name on the byline. And I said to him, you know what I could have said. I didn't say anything. And I got my boss is looking at me. He said, we know what he's doing. He out there partying. If you don't write it, we will. So I was trying to help you. He said, don't matter to me. It was you. He said, there's nobody in the industry that could hurt me but you. And that was the first time, even though we were cool, that was the first time I looked at him and I said, the brother loves me. I love him too. And all that mattered to me was that he was hurt. And from that day forward, I told him, I got nothing to say about you until I talk to you. And I've kept my word ever since that day, because that's the kind of relationship that we had. And I got I was very tight with Kobe. I was very tight with Shaq and various others, but AI and I is special. And so to answer your question directly, years when I got to ESPN and all of that stuff, but then there's special moments that really, really crystallizes it for you when you arrived, and when he showed me that I had that kind of effect on him. Then I started thinking about all the things I say and the kind of effect I could have.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though I got to be myself and I got to be direct and I got an audience to reach and all that other stuff, I try to point out the positives with folks. I don't just say, look, you can't play. Look, you scrub. Look, you did this. I always say, look, man, this person is this person. There's good qualities about it, whatever. But, and so I make sure that I try to do that, and I hope that folks see that. Sometimes they're not going to. I get that. Mm-hmm. It's well-known fact that me and Kyrie had beef for quite a long time. That will probably never resolve itself. I'm cool with his family and all of that stuff now. But, we don't talk, and it's probably going to stay that way. Probably need to stay that way. But I don't wish him harm. I don't want him not to get paid. I don't want people looking at him and thinking that. I've even gone on national television and said, yo, we got a problem with each other. That don't mean y'all should. He a good dude. We just got our own private issue that ain't nobody's business. He know what it is, and I know what it is, And so that's what it is, and we leave it at that.
Where does that come from? Because is that just the Bronx in you? Like, it got to be different. Like you got to be different to want that confrontation at all times.
I don't believe I want the confrontation at all times.
I gotta feel like you do, especially being in this field.
I just don't think I run from it. I'm not running, bro.
Okay.
Because first of all, I believe I'm right 98% of the time. Let me get that out the way.
Okay.
All right, I'm not. It's not like I'm talking, y'all.
Right.
And I like
because there's facts behind what you say.
I'm not one of these guys that is like, I'm wrong and I know I'm wrong, but this is going to create clicks, and I could give a damn about that. I listen. I got a podcast. I'm building a studio. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not just doing a podcast. I'm creating a show. And I'm going to create other shows. I got a production company. I'm going to create content. I'm trying to employ folks. You said, I got a bigger vision than just being in front of a microphone or a television screen and running my mouth, okay? So I understand that part about me. But when it comes to dealing with players, in my mind, we all from the same place. We all come from the same cloth, the same culture. Yes. You ain't going to talk to me like I don't identify with you. I know exactly who you are. That kind of thing. And so what happens is if I say something, I believe I'm right. You got two choices. Accept I'm right, or show me I'm wrong. If you show me I'm wrong, there is evidence on national television where I have showed up on national television, yo, y'all, I was wrong. This person called me, they explained it, they got me. Chris Paul recently said something to me. I was wrong. He was talking to me about something. He was right, I was wrong. That's a correction I got to make. Melo years ago, oh, did he get me good? He got me good because Melo is Melo. I mean, that's the perfect word for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly is. If you don't really know Melo, Melo is just, he's as cool as they come.
He is.
And that brother called me when he was in the Olympics years ago, and he like had some issues with the Knicks, and he was like, why aren't you calling? He says, so why would you say that? I said, yo, man, that's what they saying. That's what I heard, blah, blah, blah. He said, and you didn't call me? And I said, Melo, you at the Olympics. He said, when the fuck did that start?
Right.
And I went like this. You got me. He got me. Because he was so right. He was so, any other, I don't know. To this day, I don't know what the hell came over me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, what was I doing that would convince me not to call him? I would always call him. Why wouldn't I call him? And he would answer. So it was like, I had no excuse. Zero. I went on national television and apologized to Carmelo Anthony.
So this is the perfect question I got for you right now.
Sure.
I got a perfect one for you.
Sure.
Your career so far, how can I say this? Other than coming at me, you definitely came down at me. You know, is there any moments in your career that you wish you could do over?
There's several, if I'm being totally honest. Me and Big Dog Glenn Robinson, if I see him, I'll apologize to him. Okay. It's not that what happened, I didn't report anything wrong, I didn't do anything wrong. But I took it to a place it didn't need to go. And the reason I took it to a place that it didn't need to go is because I was really, really pissed off at him. Because I felt he got Coach Randy Ayers fired. And who succeeded Larry Brown and stuff like that. In fairness, I don't like talking about it because Randy Ayers has asked me to let it go, Mo Cheeks has asked me to let it go, all of them has asked me to let it go. And the truth of the matter is, I let it go a long time ago because it needed to be let go. If there had come a point, if Big Dog Robinson and I we were in a place, somebody was gonna die, somebody's gonna live. Oh shit. Because it was like,
that's how deep it got.
That's how deep it got. Because it was like, you could see the hatred he had for me. And it was mutual. Right? Because I felt like he didn't represent the culture the way it needed to.
Oh my goodness.
And then I said, this
They are
is going
torturing
too
me.
far. And the moment it hit me was when I saw his son. And his son was in the league and he was walking by me. It was almost like he wanted to put his head down, not to disrespect me or anything, but like he was fearful that I was going to have something negative to say about him. And I said, I'm older, I'm the journalist, I'm the professional. He's a basketball player, not to say he's not a professional grown man, because I'm not trying to disrespect him like that. But there is no excuse for a player to be in this league whose father was in the league. And it was like, yo, you know, you worry that I'm going to come at you the wrong way because of your dad. I said there must be something about my presentation and my delivery that's irresponsible. And I walked right up to him, and I apologized to him for what has happened with me and his father. I said, when I see your dad, I'm going to apologize to him. I want you to know, you don't ever have to worry about me saying nothing about you. I'm going to call your game now. Right. Play, I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to critique your game now, because that's my job. But that's all up to him. And I apologized to him for what has happened with me and his father. I said, when I see your dad, I'm gonna apologize to him. And I want you to know, you don't ever have to worry about me saying nothing about you. I'm gonna call your game now. Right. Play, I'm gonna give you credit. I'm gonna critique your game now, because that's my job. But that's all you ever have to worry about. That was one. There is no denying, even though I hate bringing up his name because it just gives him a reason to, gain attention. But Kwame Brown. Look, man. Look. Kwame Brown.
Bro, you funny as hell.
I know what I said.
Kwame.
We'll track the price of your flight so you can decide when to book.
I did mean it. I ain't gonna sit here and tell you I ain't mean the shit I said.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know it was gonna be like this. I didn't know that. Remember, I said it before Twitter, Facebook. I didn't know, man. I didn't know that 20 years later, 15 years later, they gonna have memes and videos. I didn't know, y'all. I really, really didn't, man. And when I see what he says, I realize how hurt he is. And no matter what he said, no matter the bravado, no matter how hardcore he comes at it, I know you don't do stuff like he does from time to time and talk about people unless you hurt him. There's no way. And so I just said, like, damn, if I had to do that all over again, I would have just, I mean, it was a sound bite. They had just traded for Pau Gasol, and they asked me this question, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm talking like I'm talking. Y'all see how I talk? It ain't like it's reserved for television. That's how I speak. You know, sometimes I'm more mellow than others when I'm talking to honey. I mean, it's a little different. We're talking about a little different, but when I'm talking to the fellas, it's different.
Yeah.
And we just talking, and so I look at it like that, man, and you just look at him and you see some of the stuff that he's saying and stuff, and it's like, yo, dude, it's like, you got hurt. And the one time I had to address it, because I felt like he was coming at me like, I'm scared. I'm like, wait a minute. Let me remind, first of all, I ain't scared. Let me remind you, these are the highlights, but I can't even tell you when I did that, the stars who called, I ain't gonna mention no names, practically all of them in the Hall of Fame.
Dude, Schroeder's annoying.
In the Hall of Fame, they're like, nah, Steven, nah. And the only exception to that would be my man DC, Derek Coates, because that's my brother right there. And he got on me, and when he speaks, I listen, because he's a real one, and I got a lot of love for him. And he was like, nah. And I was like, where were y'all when he was saying all of this stuff for weeks?
Right.
I didn't say anything.
Exactly.
And him and Jamie Foxx and so many others, man. And it was like, all right, y'all, I ain't gonna say nothing. They're like, we know you ain't scared. We got it. And as I see, some of the clips now and some of the stuff that he says, I just like, go ahead, bro.
Yo, I didn't click on him, bro.
I wish I could do that over. I wouldn't do it. I wish I could do Big Dog. I wouldn't do that. And to certain respects, believe it or not, Kyrie, because I think that got misconstrued. To me, you're so spectacular in box office. I'm tired of seeing one thing after another leading to you missing games. That was my only point. There's always something. Yeah, I want to leave Cleveland. I'll stay here in Boston if you'll have me, and then you leave, and you go to Brooklyn, and it's one thing after another. After you got the brothers to come to Brooklyn, where you should have went to the Garden, you'd have been worth about $500 million more playing for the Knicks than for the Brooklyn Nets. And so that was my position.
Is that a little biased there?
Huh?
Yeah,
yes. Totally. I mean, listen, I'm praying on camera for Damian Lillard to reconsider. I love South Beach. Let's tax in the whole bit, but New York is not praying for him to come. Damn right. But the thing about it is that when that stuff happened with Kyrie, he and his father and I are fine. But it got to a point where it wasn't, because unbeknownst to the public, the father, loving his son, was coming to his defense by sending me text messages that, quite frankly, I didn't appreciate. And so because of that, it took on a life of its own. And credit to Kyrie, I mean, listen, it's really nobody's business, but I feel because the story took on a life of its own, I really owe it to people to let them know. I hope I'm not violating Kyrie's trust, because I usually I don't betray people's trust. That's just a big thing for me. But I will tell you, we were at the Staples Center. Kyrie rolls up on me. Lakers, Memphis Grizzlies. He rolls up on me. I think it was either out of Denver. He rolls up on me. He taps me on the back, and he's like, "You still got that same energy face to face?" I said, "I'm standing here, ain't I?" And he was like, "It's really not about me anymore." And I looked at him and I said, "You're right. It had become about me and his dad, and how we had elected to communicate with each other. And the shame of it is, I'm 55. Obviously, his father is around my age,
Right.
and the younger son was the one that had to educate us. This is really about y'all. And so I just said, that's what men do. Kyrie Irving is right. And I called his father. And we resolved everything, and we met face to face. And it's no problem. I said to him, you're still going to judge your son by what I see. But this notion that there's going to be personal animus or whatever, I thought I was just doing my job. If it looked differently, that's on me. And so, you know, real knows real. And when you're a man, you own up and you fess up to the things that you did wrong. And I'm going to always be that dude. We'll always be that.
Well, I got to be nosy.
Yeah.
I got to get nosy because I get nosy.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying I was nosy, you brought up something when you brought us up on your show to all your accolades. There was some accolades that you didn't bring up.
Okay.
You getting into that acting role now.
Yeah, man.
See, a lot of people probably didn't even know that. I told you we nosy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that you played Brick on General Hospital.
Yeah.
So
Soap opera.
that's right now too. That's still going.
Oh yeah, I was on Monday. I was on Monday. I'll be on again the 28th. Yeah. You know, it's fun, man.
Free promo. Go ahead.
You know what it is. You know what it is, man. You know what it is. You could come up to me and I'm good. I don't like signing autographs. I'd rather take pictures. You know, take the pictures and keep it moving, that kind of thing. I'm not debating for free.
Right.
You're not getting that from me. You don't roll up on me in the supermarket, you roll up on me in the restaurant. I remember, God bless him, I had to stand up and literally hug this like 70, 75-year-old white man that came up to me. I don't like what you said about the Knicks. I said, stop right there. I said, I don't debate for free. Don't even try it. And you could see him taken aback, and he was disappointed. And I walked up to him and I said, sir, it's not personal. I just don't want to do it because if I do it with you, I got to do it with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Don't take that personal. It's all right. Took a picture with him. Everything was good. But there's very few things in life that tickle me more than old people, white, black, Latino, whatever, and these old men come up to me, sir, I watch you on ESPN all the time, but that's not why I'm here. I'm up here because that little old lady over there, my wife, watches General Hospital all the time. She can't get enough of Brick. You want to see me smile? I just start glowing. Of course we could go take a picture. Where is she at? Of course we could do it. I love it, man, because, first of all, I don't consider myself an actor. They do. The star of the show, Maurice Bernard, who plays Sonny Corinthos. Eric Braden, who plays Victor Newman on Young and the Restless, is a personal friend of mine. These dudes think I'm a natural. They think I can act and stuff like that, and they've been insisting that I take it more seriously because they think that I could do it. I think, I get where they're coming from in this sense. I saw the movie, the LeBron and them movie with Adam Sandler and then with Anthony Edwards. I thought, let me tell you something right now. I produce a movie, especially with a sports figure, I'm getting Anthony Edwards. That brother did a phenomenal job.
He was natural. He was natural.
He was unbelievable. He really was. And I love it because here's what I've come to appreciate about acting. You can be anything the role says.
Indubitably.
You can be anything the role says. And think about that. No matter what we're doing in the world today, you have to watch yourself with everything. Cancer culture that we live in a whole bit. Not acting. Acting, it's the role. Whatever the role says, you can get away with being it. And that's what I love. See, for me, Nino Brown, New Jack City. Right. I'm the white Nino Brown right now, the white shirt. Now, last night I had on the black. It'd have been Nino Brown. I went to the Taylor Swift concert with my daughter. I had everything but the damn fake bull, the fake dog that Martin brought. Was setting the scene, stuff like that. It was hilarious. But I mean, stuff like that. I think about a role like that. Talk
about Creed.
I think about Creed. Well,
You was in Creed.
Yeah, but I was myself.
He was himself.
I was myself. Yeah, I did it. Michael B. Jordan reached out to me. That's my brother. I love him to death. He said, yo, man, I need a favor. I need you to do this. Done. No problem. Come to the studio. Let's do it. And that was it. But that was me in my element. So to me, there was nothing challenging about that.
So how far you see yourself going with the acting? Because I know you hands-on doing all the journalist work, but how far you think you gonna
I
go?
don't know. I really don't know yet. I think anything that I put my mind to up here, I can pull off. Physically is a different matter, knees, health, all of that other stuff. But up here, anything that I put my mind to, I think I can get done.
You got a dream role?
You know what? Like I said, man, it's hard to think about that, but I think about Ghost from Power. I think about Denzel and Malcolm X. I think about stuff like that. Nino Brown.
You ain't thought about me once?
Say what? No, I did not. I did not. My bad. But your time is coming. Your time is coming. Look, listen. We all start, and I meant that sincerely. It wasn't an insult. We all start somewhere. Listen.
I was hurt that you didn't know Jackie Long from ATL.
I did not.
That's what I was hurt about.
Listen, I work all the damn time. I don't get a chance to watch everything, bro.
But here's
the thing. I'm a law and order fanatic.
Okay.
Like season 3 with Sam Waterston all the way to like 21, 22. I watched every episode. Martin, comedy, every episode. I go back to The Honeymooners, Ralph Kramden, one of my all-time favorite comedies. All that. And then you have your favorite movie. Like I love all the Mission Impossible movies for Tom Cruise. All of them, Top Gun and all that, that's all right. But Mission Impossible is it for me. Denzel, I can't get enough of Training Day, can't get enough of Malcolm X, stuff like that. So you see stuff and you just, when you get downtime, you want to watch something like that. Outside of that, I ain't gonna front, man. I TiVo General Hospital, bro. I go home and I catch up on the episodes. Right. You know what I'm saying? I watch that. I mean, it's not a joke. I mean, when I'm working, everybody knows. You better have a damn good reason for bothering me from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. When General Hospital come on,
he know the time.
You better not.
Locked in.
You better not bother me. If I swear to you, we gonna have a problem. It better be good, cause I don't like missing. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's what's up. Well, welcome to Act the Gang, man.
Do my thing. Yeah.
So, Stephen, your former colleague Skip Bayless has a new debating partner in Richard Sherman, and I want to ask you if you could go or pick any NBA player in the history of the NBA to go back and forth with and have a debating show, who would it be and why?
Well, the obvious answer would obviously be Charles Barkley because of what we see him do. We see him on TNT for so long, we forget the brother is a Hall of Famer and one of the all-time greats. Didn't have a championship, we understand that. Jordan stood in a lot of people's way, and Barkley has to own up to the fact that to some degree he stood in his own way, because there was some times where, he wasn't in the kind of shape that he could be in, et cetera, et cetera. But I would tell you this. The person that I would love to sit on a set with me or across from me any day of the week is Kevin Garnett.
Why is that?
Because he's a real one. I'm good with you.
Respect.
Agree.
Your ability to, first of all, being real is one thing, but your ability to articulate your position with presence and force matters. Now, obviously, we would have to talk to KG because FCC airwaves, this brother sometimes don't pay attention to that, and so that's the deal with him, But KG has been. I remember another time when I had to be reeled in. It was early on. It was like, damn, I forgot which year it was. It was like maybe 2001, maybe 2002. I'm not sure. He pulled me to the side because I was getting on Michael Ola with Candy. Too hard. And KG was like, damn, bro. Damn, come on, Stephen A. And I was like, okay, I got you. For you. And back to Kyrie.
Ordinary dish soaps can leave invisible grease behind. Only Dawn Platinum removes 99% of grease.
Paddle. We'll soon find out what sort of adjustments were discussed during halftime. They've got the Andre Ayton. Bradley Beal's out there.
I had a couple of cats call me that grew up with his dad, that are friends of mine. But the biggest people, Godfather,
Ain't no fucking way.
Always. And of course, my brother Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith called me, and Kenny Smith was like, "Yo, he's us. He's one of us." He wasn't just talking about black. He was talking about where we from, Queens, Bronx, all that stuff. Steve. He said this ain't right and wrong.
Right.
He said this ain't about your information. I get it. He said, but damn, you got that pulpit. And I told Kenny, I said, say no more. It's you. It's you. So it's you. And it's like, listen. You know, we don't talk much, but, you know, I'm talking about Kawhi. I'm talking to somebody else. Paul George can roll up on me. Yo, Stephen A., can we talk? I need you to. Got you.
Hold on, wait, what?
He said the same about you.
Right.
Talk about, you know, where we from, Queens. Mine. But the biggest people is Godfather Rod Strickland. That's my man. We go back a long ways.
Okay.
And of course, my brother Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith called me, and Kenny Smith was like, "Yo, he's us. He's one of us." He wasn't just talking about black. He was talking about, you know, where we from.
Who? Kevin Garnett?
To Kyrie, on Stephen A. And I was like,
Okay.
you know, and back to Kyrie. I had a couple of cats call me that grew up with his dad, that are friends of mine. But the biggest people is Godfather Rod Strickland. That's my man. We go back a long ways. And of course, my brother Kenny Smith.
Come here, bro.
Kenny Smith called me, and Kenny Smith was like, "Yo, he's us. He's one of us." He wasn't just talking about black. He was talking about, you know, where we from, Queens, Bronx, all that stuff. Steve. He said, "This ain't right and wrong."
Right.
He said, "This ain't about your information. I get it." He said, "But damn, you got that pulpit." And I told Kenny, I said, "Say no more. It's you. You know, so it's you." And it's like, listen, you know, we don't talk much, but, you know, I'm talking about Kawhi. I'm talking to somebody else. Paul George can roll up on me. Yo, Stephen A., can we talk? I need you. Got you. No problem. Because that's how much love and respect I have for him. Now, there's several other players. You don't have no chance in hell of it. You know what I'm saying? The way you act, you ain't going to come up on me like that. But anybody that I have a relationship with, I'm going to listen to. I'm going to respect. And I'm going to make sure they know they can influence me. I'm not a closed book. And as a journalist, you have an obligation not to be a closed book. You're always supposed to be open-minded. You might be right a lot. When you wrong, you gotta own it. You gotta own it. You know, I remember I was telling Draymond, I went on his podcast, and, you know, you sitting up there, and, you know, DeMarcus Cousins, and, you know, he and I butting heads. I knew how he felt about me, and shit. I didn't give a damn, blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, he reached out when he heard what I said on Draymond's podcast. I ain't had nothing against him, calling like, man, ain't nothing to talk about. We good. You know what I'm saying? I respect the man. You know, you had a problem with something I said, but that's over and done with. You know, because I look at a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, and I don't like the way he's being treated.
Right,
you
bro,
know,
like,
he still got game.
He got game, bro.
Hella
you know,
game.
and I'm not gonna rest. Listen. You got people looking at me, and he's not a fit. I'm like, shut the hell up. DeMarcus Cousins right now would be a top 5 big man in basketball.
And that's
Right
facts,
now.
bro.
Period.
Like,
Right now.
Nuggets.
Was it Denver? Last year? He was with the Clippers before that. They went to Denver. Right. And listen, we ain't always had the greatest relationship, but we cool now and the whole bit. And ain't no way in hell that man's supposed to be in Puerto Rico playing basketball.
Right.
Now, you might have,
No way.
oh, man, he shouldn't have been so acerbic and trusting. He shouldn't have been this way. Shouldn't have been that way. All right, y'all. Come on, man. Where's forgiveness at? Where's compassion? Where's understanding? This brother has a game. He does not deserve to be in Puerto Rico playing basketball. Right now, with his skill set, his body, his strength, his basketball IQ, his shooting ability, everything, he would be a top 5 player.
Right.
And I think that you got people in the league ostracizing him because of a personality he once had. Yo, man, we all make mistakes. And he is somebody that I think is going to be a better man for it than he was maybe earlier on. Don't tell me that he don't deserve a chance to close the book. So I could have been like, whatever. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to contribute to closing the book on this brother. He don't deserve that. He don't deserve that, you know. And so that's the kind of man that I am and the platform I have. I know who I am. I know that I'm blessed and fortunate enough. You know, this is God-given. I mean, I earned it, but still, a lot of people earned it that don't have the opportunity.
Said top 5 big, you dumbasses.
Minimum 450 hours a day. You know, not only am I the talent, I'm the executive producer. You see all of those people on First Take, handpicked by me. I picked them. Now, I didn't pay them. You know what I'm saying? ESPN paid them. But they let me pick who's on my roster and stuff like that. And so when you are blessed with that kind of reach, that kind of influence, you have every obligation to be fair.
This lineup
And
has
what
a
I
lot
want
of
people
length,
to
bro.
know is that
I like this
I'm
lineup.
always strive to be fair. If I believe I'm right, I'm not budging. But if you convince me I'm wrong, if I said something about you on national television and you said that was wrong, I'm going to go back on national television and acknowledge I'm wrong. I'm not going to sit up there and say something publicly, but then privately be good. No.
Right.
You said I said something publicly, I'm going to go right back publicly and say it. And you'd be surprised how many punk-ass people want to do that.
Right.
We did it face to face.
Yeah. That's right.
Squashed it.
We did that.
You mentioned, being on Draymond's show.
Yeah.
There's we're growing in this space now
Sure.
from the OGs doing it with
Yep.
Matt Barnes, Stephen Jack,
Yep.
myself and the younger
Yep.
generation, Pat Bev, all of us jumping into this podcast world. With the success that we've been having in this space, what's your honest takeaway from us being, as athletes, being in this content space?
I'm incredible.
Just the evolution.
I think that there's a lot of people in the business that won't admit it, but they don't want y'all to
From a
succeed.
competitive standpoint?
They don't want y'all to succeed. But what I would ask you to consider is that have some compassion for them who feel that way. Because here's what they're not going to tell you. You getting 35, 40 million already. This is our job. You successful, you take more opportunities away from it. It's almost like an actor that you out there working hard to perfect your craft and they strike in, but we ain't worried about y'all. We got reality TV here. You see what I'm saying? You taking jobs from folks. And so they're not telling that. I've been blessed and fortunate where that's not a concern that I have. And so because of that, it's like, then I look at the other side to it. I'm not just a black man, I'm a brother. And so when I see brothers out there diversifying their portfolio and maximizing the opportunities that will potentially be available to them, not only am I rooting for y'all, I have an obligation to help you if you ask. That's why when they said Paul George, once you come, I'm there. Draymond wanted me, I'm there. Because I want him to succeed. I want you to succeed. I want everybody to succeed. I think there's room for everybody, believe it or not. And I think that you have a lot of people that they don't believe that y'all are going to be completely authentic and honest with one another, A. They don't believe that you're really, really going to invest yourself in this industry, number two. They think you're doing it just to kick out the fourth estate, which is the media, and to talk amongst ourselves. And my attitude is, that's your problem. Draymond and PG and KG and Matt Barnes with Stacks and all that don't stop this train. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got my audience, and it's my obligation to go out there and get an audience. Right. And so, to me, y'all got something to be worried about because there's people that's coming and they don't really want you to succeed, but in the same breath, you sort of don't have something to worry about because you got a brother like me watching y'all back who's in the industry. So it's Matt Barnes is doing his thing, and they got more numbers. I just started with, my YouTube channel. I mean, I got 275,000 subscribers in 4.5 months, and it's only gonna grow. And I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. But I'm looking at all the smoke. I'm looking at the old man and the three. I'm looking at Dre. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at KG. Remember when KG did that thing with Paul Pierce? That's why I called Paul Pierce out. I didn't call Paul Pierce out to jab at him and excoriate him. I'm like, what you doing? That's your boy. That's your boy. You don't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you rolling at ESPN and you talk about what's happening. All right, that's the mouse. You knew better. Okay, we ain't going to get into all of that, but you knew better. You know the rules that come with that. I can't do certain things working for the mouse. Right. Period. It's the mouse. All right? Get over it. It's the way they're the number one distributor of content in the world. You're working for them. There are rules and regulations that come with it. You deal with it or you don't. But when it's your boy, and you on the set with him, and you all zooted, come on, bro. You didn't. I wasn't trying to get at Paul Pierce. I'm like, yo, that's your dog. He don't want that. You don't do something like that to him. That's what I was saying. And then in the case of Stacks and Matt Barnes, man, I'm so proud of those brothers. And I don't think that people realize this. Matt Barnes is a brilliant brother, man.
Smart as shit.
This brother,
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk about looks and how it can be deceiving, because you know you see him tatted up, he's smoking some weed, and he
Right.
talk about he want to be in politics,
Right.
and I'm like this, well, how the fuck that gonna work? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, how the fuck that gonna work? I'm like, what vote you getting, right? And then I'm like, you talk to him, and I'm like, oh shit, he can pull this off.
Right.
Why not? Why not?
Right.
Look at some of the politicians we got on Capitol Hill. He could pull this off, you know, like because he's just a brilliant mind. And then, you know, you look at Stacks and we've had our disagreements and stuff like that. And I'm like, come here, man. We disagreed about that.
Mm-hmm.
You and I good. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? This is Steven Jackson. Oh, a warrior. You know, I mean, this brother don't. It's like you see what they do. And Dre crazy, he emotional and all of this other stuff. But show me a better brother. Show me a better brother. Show me a brother that is real, he's authentic, he wears his emotion on his sleeve, sometimes unwisely, at times I get it, but his heart's in the right place. He knew when that shit went down with him and Jordan Poole, he was wrong. He knew that was indefensible. But I know him well enough, and boys in the league know him well enough, his boys that is, to know what he was going through at that moment, and that he was going through a lot that ain't none of our damn business. But I'm one of the people he confided in. And I understood. I got it, you know, and I never repeated it because that's his story to tell. But I knew it. And so I had a different take on it. So my point in all of it is understand the platform that you have, understand that it's growing. But the one advice that I would give, stop falling for the same old stuff that most of these athletes fall for when they say the media, the media, the media. No, if you're going to be in the media doing a podcast and everything else, you have an obligation to dissect specifically who you support and who you're against. Who you think favors you, who you think don't. It can't be, it's just the media. You know what I'm saying? It can't be that. Because when you do that, then you castigating everybody. And that's like a cat in the NBA. All right, this cat got arrested for drunken driving. All right, this cat had a domestic violence issue. All right, this cat is arrested for assault. And white media, like in years past, not necessarily now, but definitely in years past. You see these NBA players?
Right.
No, it was three of them.
Categorize everybody.
It was three of them.
Yeah.
It was three of them.
But I feel in our perspective, right? This is our work. This is our livelihood. This is our job.
Yep.
And I felt this way for part of my career of like, damn, I'm off the media too. Yep. I don't want to talk to this person.
Yep.
I don't want to talk to that person. Leave me alone, right? They beat me up enough. They've said this thing about me. Granted, like, I'm trying the best that I can. Sometimes I come up short. That's cool. I got to live with that. Right. That's not for you to dissect and tell me I should have did this. I know what I got to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when it comes to that, it comes to a point of like, at that point, I'm going to just remove myself.
Got you.
And I'm going to take myself away from talking to the media.
Right.
Because regardless what I say, it's going to come out the wrong way anyways.
Right.
Whatever point I'm trying to make, they're going to take that and run with it.
Well, I got it.
And so that's what brought me to the conclusion of doing my podcast.
Right.
Because now I can express how I feel. I can say what I want. And I know it's coming straight from the mouth of me. I don't got to worry about clickbait. I had this conversation with this personnel, and this is the part that he wanted to put in his story. It's coming from me now. It's my story.
That's cool. And you're right to do that. You're not wrong. Right? So anybody that tells you you're wrong is wrong. But there's a flip side to it that you might not have considered. Did you know that if a reporter walks up, let's say, for example, Paul George is, yo, man, I think I'm worth $50 million. I want this contract. And then you're struggling.
Why try Febreze Car? Febreze starts just right and stays just right for 40 days. Febreze Car.
With over 400 million global users. So, what will you do on Vigo?
Vigo, Vigo! The NFL draft is here again, which means billionaires are hiring millionaires to pick football players for them, mostly quarterbacks. Because a great quarterback is the key to a great team. But here's the truth. None of these billionaires, millionaires actually knows how to determine what college quarterbacks will be great in the pros. They're all guessing, which makes the next few days actually hilarious. Get the popcorn.
Get your popcorn in Kansas City where they are ready for the 2023 NFL Draft. See, the season of hope starts right now. The path to a Super Bowl starts in the summer. The path to a dynasty starts by nailing the NFL Draft. And this night, this weekend, is where every single fan base will believe that their team is starting that path to a dynasty. We are going to cover every single pick without a single commercial along the way for total chaos for the NFL Draft. Field Gates, Harry Douglas, Spencer Hall, Andrew Hawkins, Harry Lyles. There will not be a pop quiz at the end, I promise. I'm Jason Fitz, and we're going to get you covered for everything. Before we start on the draft, we need to quickly update you on the big...
No, what I'm saying, I mean, not a joke. I mean, when I'm working, everybody knows. Everybody knows. You better have a damn good reason for bothering me from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. When General Hospital come on,
he know the time.
You better not.
Locked in.
You better not bother me.
Ezekiel Ella went to the Patriots.
I swear to you, we gonna have a problem. It better be good, because I don't like missing. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's what's that. Well, welcome to Act the Gang, man.
Do my thing. Yeah.
So, Stephen, your former colleague Skip Bayless has a new debating partner in Richard Sherman. And I want to ask you, if you could go or pick any...
FCC, if...
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Sherman. Excuse me.
Mine. You know what I'm saying? The way you act, you ain't gonna come up on me like that. But anybody that consider is that have some compassion for them who feel that way.
The OG's doing it with Matt.
Yeah.
There's a, you know, we're growing in this space now from with the 6th way from us being.
I'm incredibly proud of y'all. I won't admit it, but they don't want y'all to
from a competitive standpoint.
They don't want y'all to. When they say the media, the media, the media. No. If you're going to be in the media doing a podcast and everything else, you have an...
I think, though, in that you brought it up with athletes, like this is the field that this is what we signed up for, right?
Right.
I think that goes in the same tone with journalists, right?
Okay.
This is what they signed up for.
Right. Journalists made.
Take myself away from talking to the media.
Right.
Because regardless what I say, it's going to come out the wrong way anyways.
Right.
Whatever point I'm trying to make, they're going to take that and run with it.
Well, I got it.
And so that's what brought me to the conclusion of doing my podcast.
Right.
Because now I can express how I feel. I can say what I want. And I know it's coming straight from the mouth of me. I don't got to worry about clickbait. I had this conversation with this personnel, and this is the part that he wanted to put in his story. It's coming from me now. It's my story.
That's cool. And you're right to do that. You're not wrong. Right? So anybody that tells you you're wrong is wrong. But there's a flip side to it. Did you know that if a reporter walks in, let's say, for example, Paul George is, yo, man, I think I worth $50 million. I want this contract. And then you're struggling. Do you know that if that reporter goes up to you and doesn't ask you about that, the editor's like, come here, why do I have you on the beat? You going home. You got to understand that everybody has a job to do. A lot of times, particularly if it's a beat writer and it's somebody that's in their locker room after every game and is talking and is cultivating a relationship with you, they know you, so the last thing they want to do is come up to you and ask you that question. They have no choice because their job is on the line. And no matter how bad your game was that day, your contract guaranteed. And it's for a gazillion times more than that journalist made. You know, you got cats that, and they're going to remain nameless as players, because I'm not going to do that to them. But when I went hard on a couple of superstar players, I happen to know for a fact they tried to get a couple of journalists. And it's because the journalists asked them about something that they were hearing. And they brought up the brother. But when Woj reported it, or Shams reported it, you ain't say shit. Now see, that's when Stephen A, now that Bronx, that Queens dude comes out. Oh, so we gonna call a brother out making 75, 85, maybe 100,000, that they can wipe off the map in a heartbeat, and you fucking know it. And you would do that to him. But the white dude, Woj, Shams, whatever, and I work, Woj and I have a good relationship, respect the hell out of him. He's the ultimate insider, stuff like that. Shams does a great job as well. I'm not throwing no shade on them. Right. I'm saying, I'm watching the athlete. You said nothing. You said nothing. And that's when you see me, you like, what's wrong with Stephen A? Why he coming like that? What's going on? Because I'm pissed. Because I know intel, and I know what you're doing, and I know how you try to do it. You sit up there one time, and it's like, KD talk about people don't know what they talk about, and I love KD. That's my dog. I love him to death. But he was talking about people don't know what the hell they talk about when they were talking about him wanting to leave OKC. And you going off, but then you left. You left. You see what I'm saying? They weren't lying. They weren't lying. You know, I mean, it's like you see cats, and it's like, yo, you making tens of millions per. You getting mad and trying to end the careers of cats, because if they get fired, how many brothers gonna get fired? You working at Yahoo Sports, you working at ESPN, you working at some other network, and you get bounced out. How many brothers you can look at and say, yo, you gonna have another job tomorrow? It ain't like that. And it doesn't ever cross their mind. And so for me, I understand what you're saying, but I would use Roy Williams, a former basketball coach in North Carolina. He was at Kansas. They lose the national title game. And the reporter has to ask him, are you going to leave Kansas City? Kansas, this your last game, and you going to North Carolina? Now, who the hell don't know? That's the worst. That's the absolute last question he wants. He just lost the national title. He got kids in the locker room crying. Nobody wants to do that. That reporter had no choice because the producers in her ear and the bosses are back in the studio. You better ask this question. And by the way, it's not subliminal. They literally have an IFB in their ear, and they're telling them, ask the question. Ask the question. The difference between me and most, I have the power to take the IFB out. Shut the hell up. I ain't asking that. This is what I'm going to ask. But even I have a tenets of journalism that I have to ask. If you sat up there and just got arrested last night and you come on my show today, I got an obligation to ask you what happened. Look at Hugh Grant. He got caught cheating on his wife years ago. He went on a late night show. It was comedy. And Jay Leno opened the interview. What the hell were you thinking? And the whole crowd burst into laughter. That was his way of having to address what needed to be addressed, because it comes along with the tenets of journalism, which you as athletes don't necessarily have. That doesn't make you wrong. That doesn't disqualify you from having a podcast or anything like that. But understand your role is different. Malika Andrews, my colleague, who everybody saw I got into an issue with on First Take months ago, and I had to check that situation. She getting crucified leading into the draft because she's asking Brandon Miller a question or bringing up somebody's past. She had an obligation to ask those questions.
And they know that too. That's the thing.
Job.
They know they just be
if she doesn't do her job,
just to
she's
talk.
off the
They
air.
don't got nothing else.
They're like, what we need you for. And
know
so
that
when
she
you see
had to do that.
athletes and you recognize the fact that you have enough access to us, if you don't know, to find that out. Wouldn't it be nice if you just asked? Because we'll tell you.
Yeah.
We'll tell you.
I think, though, in that you brought it up with athletes, like this is the field that this is what we signed up for, right?
Right.
I think that goes in the same tone with journalists, right?
Okay.
This is what they signed up for.
Right.
So I think it's tough for you guys to ask us, because it's an emotional sport.
Sure.
sports in general, it's an emotional ride. Whether we're winning, we're losing, good times, bad times, shit that we got to carry from home into our field, vice versa. Like it's chaotic at times.
Right.
And I think you guys can tell the story of what it's like being just human beings.
Sure.
You know, I think a lot of the pictures that being painted is that we're superstars, we're superheroes, we can do this, we can do that. We're put on this pedestal of being able to, you know, conquer anything, right? And that is the biggest issue that I have from a journalistic standpoint, that you guys fail to realize, hey, we fuck up too.
Right.
You know,
Well,
shit don't go our way too.
Well, we all understand there's winners and losers. Everybody can't win. Everybody can't win. Right? But there's two things that I'll point out to shine a light on on what we're talking about, to give you an example of what can be annoying. So, you'll have a situation where you like somebody like KD, who I consider to be one of the greatest players who's ever lived. And he's like,
just have to do that for
we
the
just want
time.
to play ball, and we all the same, and it's a team effort, and blah, blah, blah. He said this in the past. Did you say that when you went to the negotiating table? No. You damn right you didn't. You said, I'm special. You said, I'm special. I am not like anybody else.
That's true.
And I'm not talking about the public.
Yeah.
I'm talking about amongst the NBA ilk. I'm talking about cats that are a part of the fraternity of 450 plus players. That's it. In the world. You still went to the negotiating table and said, I'm one of the best. We expect to see that shit. And if you don't show it to us, we gonna point out that ain't what you said at the negotiating table. You see what I'm saying? You got LeBron. He used to drive me crazy with this. And that's why I came up with the tick on television. When I said, great dad, great husband, great director, great actor, great businessman. I did all of that. I said, did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? Because I got him as the second best player in the history of basketball. I got him ahead of Kareem.
Oh, my God.
I got him behind no one but Jordan. And I said to Mr. Chirper himself, Rich Paul, my boy, and I said, you act like that's an insult. This dude, it is an insult. I said, get the fuck out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face. This is exactly what I said to him. I don't want to talk to you no more. You can't talk to me about it. When you gonna treat me like I'm disrespecting a man by calling him in the history of the game that started in 1947.
The second greatest player in the world.
You're going to tell me that I am disrespecting a man by having him number 2 all the time. You have lost your damn mind. I'm not talking to you. And so what I'm saying is this. You got cats that want the lofty accolades. They want to be renowned for this. And they want to be recognized as that. But LeBron, and you know this, you're going to start laughing when I say this, because he's done this before. LeBron. Because I'm the best in the world. During the finals, remember that? He's playing goes, I'm the best in the world, which he was. So, you know, that's how he felt, blah, blah, blah. They lose. Another year wasn't the same series. Another year. You know, I'm just...
I thought that was the 2016 year. That was the 2015 year that he said that.
You know, be a good role model. God damn it, nobody's talking about that, man. You know good and damn well we talking about that damn jump shot you was shooting where you shot 2 for 10. Stop it. You know, we nobody's questioning your character. You didn't ball that day. You didn't ball. Why you gonna go there? You trying to be slick. You're damn right he did it. And it's like, you're trying to be slick. Can we stick to ball, please? Nobody questioned your character. Nobody sat up there and said you're a scourge of the earth. You're not a role model. We don't love you. We don't care about you. Yo, you fucked up. You played bad that day. You'll play good tomorrow, but you play bad. And for you,
That's for me. Come on, James.
soap operas are a beautiful way to do a podcast and a beautiful way to be a journalist.
What the?
If you watch
Your rage with
Young and
that
the
kick,
Restless,
bro. That's fire.
Victor Newman has been shot. He's been pushed down a flight of stairs. He's been stabbed. He's been beat up. He's lost his memory. He's been kidnapped. You know, Sonny Corinthos, General Hospital, have been shot. You know, shot his own son. Was supposed to go to jail for life, and all of this other stuff. Fellas, they're the stars. They're going to be there 6 months from now, a year from now. But it doesn't stop the soaps from telling the story.
Yep.
And that's what you're missing. Paul George gets paid what he gets paid. My brother, you deserve it. We know you could ball. Anybody with two eyes know that when you healthy, you one of the best. There's no doubt about it. We know what the Clippers could do. We can only imagine what you and Kawhi fully healthy and y'all fully loaded with Ty Lue coaching. We only can imagine what y'all could do. We know about the greatness of LeBron James. We know about the greatness of Steph Curry. We know all of this. But the story has to be told. If all you get to do is point to their ending and the narrative, you can't tell a story. And they can't do their jobs. And the thing that I love about y'all having a podcast, y'all gonna find that out. Because when you come in front of this microphone and these cameras, you gotta have a story to tell. You gotta have a subject to address. You have to have interesting and compelling content to provide to the viewers. How can you do that if everybody has the attitude, well, this doesn't matter because we know what's going to happen in the end? No. You tell the story while it's going on. I felt in my heart of hearts the Philadelphia 76ers were going to the championship. I knew they were going to lose to the Lakers with Shaq in his prime and Kobe and all of that stuff. But I thought they were going to beat Toronto. I thought they were going to beat Milwaukee and all of this other stuff. If you go back and look at my coverage from 2001, it was back and forth. They love me one day, hate me the next. I'm like, damn, he sucked tonight. You know, what was he doing? How could you make this mistake? But this is the kind of thing that's going to cost them. I knew it wasn't going to happen again. But I don't get to say that. I get to sit up there and say, in the moment, this is what happened. These are the potential ramifications. That is what makes a story. And you're going to do what you got to do.
And I'm fine with that. I have no issue with that.
Right.
The issue I have is that y'all fail to realize that nobody wants, like, we don't go out there and want to perform bad.
When you are a professional athlete and you put your skills on public display, it's there to be publicly scrutinized or lauded. Because what we're doing is we're separating the good from the great from the greatest, the good from the scrubs. You understand? There's certain people we can look at and go like this, but there's a role for them. There's certain people we look at and say pretty damn good. This guy he's gonna be, you know, when I looked at Terrence Mann a couple of years ago, I said this brother got a future. Okay? There's certain people like Norman Powell, brother can ball. I like Norman. We get all of that, right? There's certain people like yourself and others are star. And there's certain people who remain nameless. They don't have no business wearing an NBA uniform, and we all know it. And so when you see that, okay, you have an obligation to point out those things, not to belabor it, but at that moment, that's the story. You have an opportunity to make a different story next game. Now, the playoffs is when it's different. Because the playoffs, you got to live with that shit the whole off season.
You do.
That's where first comes in. That's where the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast comes in. Let me tell you something right now, because ain't nobody stopping me. And I feel good. I'm feeling healthy. I feel blessed. I am more energized for this NBA season than I have been in a long, long time.
Yeah.
I'm so ready because it's like, nobody's in a real ideal situation, which means it's going to call upon the stars to lift them up.
I'm ready for it. I've heard it. I've seen it all, and I'm ready for it. This year is going to be a good one. We appreciate you coming through in the building. Blessing Podcast, P. Ladies and gentlemen, we at the face ESPN. Huh?
I said we want to get it. Come on,
Appreciate you again, baby. It's a pleasure having you.
I want
I never heard of them. I want to see what you guys listen to. Tripping Red. You know who my favorite band is? You ever heard of Led Zeppelin?
Where your cash at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big folks.
Where your motherfucking bag at, nigga?
Bitch. Running or nothing, nigga. You know what's going down. And we gunning niggas on game.
Yeah. Say you got cash, little nigga, then throw it. You get a bag, little nigga, then blow it. I got the racks, little bitch, I'ma throw it. Say you got cash, little nigga, then throw it. You having cash, little nigga, then throw it. I got them bags, little bitch, I'ma throw it. I'm throwing that money all out in the open. I don't give a fuck about money. Nigga get buzzed by money. Lose my trust by money. Know that bitch can't tap my money. Be back in, can't tap my money. I know how they act funny. I know how they act funny. I know how they act funny.
Bitch, I'm a down and I stick to the code. Sit down very loud when I get on the road. Bitch, I'm a villain, my heart hella cold. Split Superman and I get in my mode. It's like militia, I'm coming to code. I run a block, I don't need a motor. Yes, I'm a clan, babe, fuck a Toyota. Grew up with the savages, militant soldiers. Her pussy got weak, my money got older. You ain't from the block, say you blow who the donor.
Ferraris, Lambs, Corvettis, and Rovers.
We stay in the field and ain't got no clothes. Fuck all the chill, we sitting in mortars. We popping these niggas like motherfucking
yeah,
portals.
Bitch, I got money like I owe. Got it out of the mud, got it out of the soil. That shit ain't my Johnny aluminum foil. And I'm still on their ass, I ain't keeping it court.
Club shit out and travel through portals. I ain't never been scared of no motherfucking mortal. I throw all the cash, my money immortal. Bitch, I'm a killer like Roro on the
yeah,
keep me in rubber like Moose. Yeah, that my brother like Ace and Saba. We smoke the odds down to their doobies. Oh shit, yeah. I just put the morning sign on my wrist. Ay, put my wrist up to the stars. Take 100 to the strip club. Falling out of all of this shit.
Yeah.
Say you got cash, little nigga, then throw it. You get a bag, little nigga, then blow it. I got the racks, little bitch, I'ma throw it. Say you got cash, little nigga, then throw it. You having cash, little nigga, then throw it. I got them bags, little bitch, I'ma throw it. I'm throwing that money all out in the open. I don't give a fuck about money.
Nigga get buzzed by money. Lose my trust by money. Know that bitch can't tap my money. Be back in, can't tap my money. I know how they act funny. 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 I know how they act funny.
Calling your name from the moon, caught in the void. I'ma be home soon, so we can do the impossible. She gotta walk, gotta start the room. She got in my car, so invincible, so we can do the impossible. Take me away. Take me away. Take me away. Tell me everything you love about me. I wanna know why. I wanna know why. Take me back to when you didn't have no one. Take me back to when you needed me. Take me back while we smoke until the sun up. Let me hear frustration, baby, please. Roll into the moon. Fall into the moon with you, yeah. Calling your name from the moon, caught in the void. I'ma be home soon, so we can do the impossible. She gotta walk, gotta start the room. She got in my car,
I gotta listen to my song, bro.
so we can do
Real
the
quick.
impossible.
I gotta take a shower, bro. Loving, my thugging, fuck loving, and I know it's what he say? He say.
Yeah. time for your love. One more time for your friends. One more time till you're satisfied with me. One more time for the club. One more time to the end. One more time till you're satisfied with me. With me, with me, with me.
I got a squad, hey.
Just one last time I love you. One last time I trust you. One last time I trust you with my heart. Loving you ain't easy. Loving you ain't easy. You'll be my sun. I'll be the sun and star. Let it know. You don't even know. I'm counting on you. Either way it goes, I'm counting on you. My heart, my soul, my love belongs to you. My love, my heart, my soul belongs to you.
That song is so beautiful, bro. I can't believe how beautiful it is, bro. One last time for me. One last time till you satisfied with me. I gotta listen to this, I ain't gonna lie. Not gonna lie. But things fall off for you just so I can stay
As you
calm.
walked out, I cried 'cause you didn't care. I forget you, but so you can do it all again. Yes, I love you. I wanna hate you, but I just can't. And I lost you. Still here, just with them. Why'd you lie about change? Why'd you tell me that it's different now? It's the same. I can't believe that I stayed. Now I have to sleep alone again. In the bed you made, I like the rounds to the place. Spark it up and burn it down. Now, how? After everything we can. Still sometimes, next time, had to be. Keep it together, we won't never change. In your love. In my heart. In your love. Take it back now, don't know why again. Love or lie, you were hurting, I don't deserve this. Yeah. Gave you everything, it still ain't working. Where do I start, do I begin? We were so close that we were twins. Thought that we would never ever end, but I guess this shit was a pretend. 3 a.m. Stuck in the room, but you're the only one that's been letting me out. Yeah, now that I'm running my hands and I hate the fact that I'm losing your touch. Lose your touch. Like put all my pain up in this blunt, yeah. I wish I was trying to play. Spark it up and burn it down. Now, how? After everything we can. Still sometimes, the first time, the beat.